Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. I thank you guys for joining me so much. Today, I'm going to be giving you my final thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys NFL draft picks. If you are tuning into this video and you were tuned into my live stream on Thursday night of the first round, you already could get a gist of I didn't like how it was going. But we had we had Friday and then we had Saturday. So I've had a lot of time to really think about it. And I can actually say that it turned out a whole lot better than what I originally thought it was going to be. But before we get into all that, thank you guys for watching the video and tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel and to tap that notification bell to get notified when all of my videos go live. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. When we started the Dallas Cowboys draft, everybody and their mama in the sports analyst industry, in the sports media industry, the Mel Kipers of the world, the Field Yates, everybody said the Dallas Cowboys were going to go with a wide receiver. And I, too, thought that. You had Teratoa McMillan, Matthew Golden, Luther Burden. We had that established going into the draft. So Thursday night, I know you saw my reaction. I was very upset. Because if you did not know, with the first round pick for the Dallas Cowboys at number 12, the Dallas Cowboys decided to take left guard. Actually, no. He is a left guard, but he's going to end up playing right guard for the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Booker from the University of Alabama. Before going to this pick, I had my heart set on Matthew Golden. I really did. Even though I didn't like the fit with CD. CD is the type of receiver. He's not as tall. He's not the get up and grab it type of wide receiver. He's not a one-on-one guy. He needs the ball in space to go get that yards after catch, that yak, in other terms, what a lot of people like to say. Matthew Golden somewhat was that same type of receiver. He was a smaller, he was faster than CD, and he's a more vertical deep threat. But what Dallas really needed was that guy who can go up, catch that one-on-one ball, which was what Teratoa McMillan was. But the Panthers took him with the 8th pick, so he wasn't available. There was also a report that actually did come out today stating that Ted McMillan was going to be the Cowboys pick if he was there, but he wasn't. So they went with Tyler Booker. And I was disgusted. I was sitting here like, we mocked a wide receiver, even a running back. The top two team needs for the Cowboys going into the draft was either a wide receiver or a running back. You give or take. Whichever one you want, you go get. Omarion Hampton, he was available. Luther Burden was available. Matthew Golden was available. Those were the guys that I had in mind. And then with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, my guy Roger Goodell rolled out there and said, Tyler Booker. He was the number 1 ranked guard in this draft via Mel Kiper and everybody, all the other draft experts as well. He was part of the Jalen Milroe regime. Nick Saban recruited him. Nick Saban loved him. And it showed on tape. He is a bully. He is a dog. He can go make plays. He can go make blocks when he needs to make blocks. But my heart was set on the skill position. It was a unflashy pick in a lot of people's eyes. It really was. And I can say that looking back on it and just processing it, I like the pick. Based on what we drafted later on, you're trying to establish the run. And Brian Schottenheimer had an interesting quote where he said he's want to establish a culture of guys where character matters, leadership matters. That was the type of guy in Tyler Booker at Alabama. Because if you did not see the video of him getting drafted, the kid was ecstatic. He was joyful. He acted like he was ready to run through a brick wall. There's the clip going around with Micah Parsons and the interview he had with him on the Bleacher Report with the Adam Lefkoes and the Darius Slays. And Tyler Booker was coming out with this quote like, yeah, I'm this type of guy, I'm going to keep hitting you and hit you. It got Micah get ready to run through a brick wall, and it had me getting ready to run through a brick wall because he was that type of guy. And I think that's the type of culture that Brian Schottenheimer is trying to set on that offensive line. And it could rub off on Tyler Smiths and everybody else. So at the end of the day, the pick grew on me. I can say that. I will concede that I think that the Dallas Cowboys, it wasn't the best option I think they could have had. But given how the rest of the draft went and how the guy that they wanted was not there, you really didn't like the fit with Matthew Golden and CeeDee Lamb. You would rather had the fit with Tet McMillan and CeeDee Lamb. So I can't hate it. He's an Alabama guy, SEC, considered one of the best offensive linemen in the draft, considered one of the best offensive linemen in college. Even though a lot of people projected him to go late first round, early second round. But one thing we can do about the Dallas Cowboys, we can always give them the benefit of the doubt when they actually do draft an offensive lineman, because they have the experience doing it and they've had the success of being able to do it. Because not a lot of franchises have been successful at doing that, but the Dallas Cowboys do. Tyler Smith coming out of the draft, everybody complained about him holding too much and his penalties. They thought that this was, I killed the pick, my dad killed the pick. Every Cowboys fan that you know on earth killed the pick. Every analyst killed the pick. But at the end of the day, Tyler Smith has turned into an all-pro guard, first-team all-pro guard, back-to-back seasons. He's been a Pro Bowler, back-to-back seasons. He has been exceptional. He's even been moved at left tackle. I think Dallas is even flirting with the idea of him going right back to left tackle. But at the end of the day, I like the pick. Moving on into the second round, they got a guy, and this is where it gets better. They got a guy who was considered a first-round grade. A lot of people considered the best edge rusher in the draft. You had, I think his name, I want to make sure I say this right, Donovan Ezekaraku, edge from Boston College. The guy had 46 and a half sacks. That was a lot. Okay. That is a whole lot of sacks. He set the ACC record. You needed somebody on the opposite side of Micah Parsons. You lost Tank Lawrence, so depth wasn't needed at that position. Arguably, a lot of people had this dude as a high edge rusher. Dallas was kind of betting early. I know there were reports coming out before the draft that they were going to go with James Pierce if he was available. They loved him along with Walter Nolan. Neither one was available because Walter Nolan was picked by the Arizona Cardinals in the middle part of the first round. And then at the end of the first round, the Falcons traded back into the first round after they had already took somebody and took James Pierce by trading away a first-round pick, which was absolutely insane. But we will get to the full aspect of the draft in another Alpha podcast. But I just want to specifically talk about the Cowboys. So they ended up getting a stud. He's young, got long arms, high pass rush win rate, which is what the Dallas Cowboys need, getting to the quarterback. So is he going to be that run-stopping type of force that Tank Lawrence was? Absolutely not. It seems that is not his play style. He is more of a pass rusher type of extraordinaire. So Dallas is going to have to get someone to help rely on the run game because Micah Parsons does not do a good job stopping the run at the edge in any type, form, or fashion. That was Tank Lawrence's specialty. I still think to this day the Dallas Cowboys should have never let him go, but they did without a shadow of a doubt. Sam Williams, haven't really got to see him play much, so I don't even can say if he's a good run stopping extraordinaire as well. But overall, it was a good pick. You get youth, you provide depth at that position, and a lot of people consider the guy to be a steal, so it's fine with me. A pick that was loved by a lot of people, considered an A+ in the draft. We picked up Shavon Revel Jr., the cornerback out of East Carolina, in the third round. He slipped because he is coming off of an ACL injury that he experienced in September at practice. So a lot of people think this is a risky pick. ACLs at the cornerback position are no joke. But the Dallas Cowboys is betting on this man's health. This kid is absolutely exceptional. His tape is off the charts. He's tall, long. Nick Saban, the godfather of college football, had this kid ranked. He did an all defensive, all 11 defensive ranking, his best defensive players in the draft. Shavon Revel was part of that team at the cornerback position. In Nick Saban, I trust in all anything that he says, sports media itself. They said this was an exceptional pick. He played for East Carolina, so obviously I didn't get to watch him a lot. It's shocking to see such a good prospect from a small football school, a low D1 school in East Carolina in the American Football Conference get any love and have any type of players that are considered great players. But guess what? From a lot of NFL scouts, NFL analysts, they said if this kid was healthy, he was easily going to be the first cornerback taken in this draft. It's a steal. You're betting on his health. I don't know any previous health history he's had outside of that ACL he has experienced. So it's a risk, but it's a risk that invokes more reward, in my opinion. I think it was an easy steal, and you get depth at the cornerback position when you got. They said he's going to be ready in July. He's going to be ready for training camp. Trayvon Diggs is not going to be ready, so you're going to have a young tandem in Deron Bland, Shavon Revel, and you're just going to have to bet on some younger guys. They're going to pick up some guys in unrestricted as undrafted free agents, I imagine. Stephon Gilmore was actually in the building sometime last week, but I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys are flirting with the idea of even bringing him back. That needs to be more. There's more detail to be desired on that in the coming days, I guess. But that was a great pick. That's arguably probably the best pick they had in the whole draft. And Shavon Revel is going to be a Dallas Cowboy, and I think he's going to be able to produce at a high level. So that's the second day of the draft, and the Dallas Cowboys had not drafted a wide receiver and a running back yet. And I was starting to get scared because I know I didn't bring it up, but in the second day of the draft, before they drafted that edge rusher, I was hoping they were going to get Luther Burden, but the greedy Chicago Bears decided that they would get their hands on Luther Burden at 39 when Dallas was picking at 44. So Dallas did not want to trade up to do that. So that put them in a pickle. I guess they thought best player available, we're going to go get the edge rusher. And then in the third round, the Jayden Higgins, a lot of big body wide receivers that were what would be considered as solidified wide receiver twos on your roster, they were all gone. So Dallas didn't really have a lot of options. So that's the reason why they went with the cornerback, which you cannot be mad at that. So this was day 3 of the draft. The Cowboys did not have a 4th round pick because they gave that up for Jonathan Mingo. And as we see, a lot of talent went in the 4th round. So the Dallas Cowboys should start valuing that 4th round pick when they get ready to have it in the coming years. Don't be starting to give up. I think they even gave up a 4th round pick to get Joe Milton. Yeah, that's going to end up kicking him in the rump as well. But in day 3, on Saturday, their first pick they take in the 5th round, they take Mr. Jayden Blue out of Texas. This guy is an absolute speed demon. Texas's starting running back at the time was hurt for all the last season because I think he tore his ACL. So Jayden Blue was getting the majority of the catches. And is he fast? My Lord. I watched a lot of Texas football. I really didn't pay attention to him that much because I watched Texas, but I was more keen on the wide receivers, the Isaiah Bonds, Quinn Ewers, offensive line. But man, when I went back, and especially the game against Michigan early on in the season, in the college football playoff, the man is a dual threat type of running back. He is able to make plays in the backfield via receiving and as a running back. This is the type of Jahmyr Gibbs type of, even though Jayden Blue did compare himself to Jahmyr Gibbs, he is a Jahmyr Gibbs type of running back. He's speedy. He's fast. He obviously projectedly ran a 4.2 in his 40 at his pro day. I know at the combine, I think it was either vice versa. He either ran a 4.2 at his combine or at his pro day, and he ran a 4.3 in the other. I just cannot remember specifically what order that was in the correct way. Please be free to look to figure that out yourself. But it was a reach in some people's eyes. A lot of people had him as like the 17th ranked running back. A lot of people graded this pick and it said it was probably one of the worst picks that Dallas did make. I kind of somewhat disagree. Dallas was actually considering trading up to get Jayden Blue because they were scared that he weren't going to be there. He's a special talent. He's fast, quick, can catch the ball out of the backfield, make a ton of plays. This is something, an aspect of the game that Dallas was missing last year. They didn't really have a running back that could catch it out of the backfield and make plays. Rico Dowdle couldn't do that. Zeke definitely couldn't do that. That was Tony Pollard's specialty, and Tony Pollard was not on the roster last year. So they get an element of Tony Pollard and a young version of Tony Pollard. So I love the pick, and I think he's going to fit in well in a very stacked running back class. Deuce Vaughn, I think the Deuce Vaughn experiment might be over with given this pick. You get Deuce Vaughn, but he's bigger and faster, arguably faster, and he's beefier, taller in every way or form or fashion. So I hate it because I think the Deuce Vaughn has been heavily underutilized at the Dallas Cowboys. So I hope that he could get some shine somewhere else. But this is the beginning of the end for Deuce Vaughn, given how the Cowboys finished out the draft with a pick that we're going to get to later on. Moving on to the next pick, which is a lot of people shied away from this pick as well. The Dallas Cowboys slid up in the 5th round to take a linebacker, Shamar James, out of Florida. He was a senior. He was part of the Senior Bowl. So I think really, to me, this is a Matt Eberflus type pick. I mean, come on. Eberflus he made Darius Leonard an All-Pro. He made Sean Lee one of the greatest linebackers in the Dallas Cowboys history. I trust Matt Eberflus. If he sees something in this linebacker that he wants to work with and he thinks that he can develop in the next phase of his career, have at it. Given his tape, it seems like he's a good coverage linebacker. I can argue that Dallas definitely needed that because we're going to have Kenneth Murray, Maurice Luafau at linebacker, and you're going to have this guy and some other cats that they got from free agency. So linebacker was very thin. I was very interested to see how they were going to address the position. Obviously, Demarion Overshawn is going to be your top dog. You're going to be your lead dog, but he's coming off another torn ACL, so we don't know how well he's going to be mobile. I think he's still going to be great given the way people come off these ACLs nowadays in the NFL. I think Demarion Overshawn is going to be great coming off his injury. So you get some more depth. You get a project that Matt Eberflus is going to be able to develop in the rookie training camp coming up in like another, I think the rookie training camp should be in like another 3 weeks. It's going to be very soon. So you're going to get able to work with him and give Matt Eberflus the benefit of the doubt. And we're just going to have to leave that pick at that. Moving on to our next pick, we are going to talk about what they got in the 6th round. They got Johnny Cornelius. He is listed as an offensive tackle. He played right tackle for Oregon. I really think this is just another depth piece. The Cowboys got so many O-linemen. I don't know why they keep drafting them and picking them up. I thought TJ Bass and Brock Hoffman were great options at guard, but they seem that they're going to need somebody else because a lot of people are claiming that he's more of a guard type guy. He's going to be more like your plug and play. He can play tackle and play guard if you get thin in any sort, way, or fashion at a position. So we really do need tackles. Tyler Guyton, iffy right now. He's got a long way to go. So getting this solidified, just getting depth at the tackle position, because I think Terrence Steele is very, very sketchy in my opinion. I have a whole lot of faith in Tyler Guyton getting better in the coming years because he's big and has a lot of talent, but Terrence Steele's coming off an ACL. He really hasn't been the same since then. So I really think that just getting this type of guy provides depth. He's not the best. He's hit and miss, a lot of people said, in his pass protection. But he's just going to be another project guy. You're going to be able to try and develop him and make him out to be a very, very good tackle, a good backup, and maybe solidify once he leaves his 4 years at Dallas, solidify getting a tackle position somewhere else in free agency. So not mad at the pick. And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of the draft. We got a beefy boy at D tackle. This is a position that I thought the Dallas Cowboys were going to address a lot earlier. This was a defensive tackle heavy draft, but the Cowboys really couldn't get their hands on anybody that they wanted to get. But they got a big boy in Jay Toyoa from UCLA. He is a big boy. He's like 360 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. He is definitely your Vita Vea type defensive tackle. Get in there, stuff that run. That's what the Dallas Cowboys need. They were super thin at defensive tackle. I'm not shocked that they even tried to probably take a chance on that guy, that big, beefy boy from Florida. That defensive tackle, I can't remember what team he got picked up by, but he's on a roster. But I'm really shocked that Dallas really didn't take a chance of getting him as an undrafted free agent. But it is a team need for the Dallas Cowboys. You got a beefy boy in there that you can plug and play alongside Osa Odighizuwa. So you get more depth there. Not mad at the pick at all. I think it was a good pick. If you were going to go D tackle, you need to run stuff in type of D tackle because Osa, he doesn't really start to run that well. So he's more of your pass rushing type of defensive tackle. So pairing him alongside of Osa Odighizuwa makes teams not one-dimensional and gash us in the run like they have been doing for the last 5+ years. The Dallas Cowboys need to establish an identity this offseason. Stopping the run and being able to run the football. That's the type of philosophy I think Brian Schottenheimer is trying to introduce to the Dallas Cowboys. And that is the ultimate reason why they made this pick. And along with this next pick as well. Somebody who I have watched many times in college. Somebody I did not even know who was available at the time because I did not hear his name pop up at all. Phil Maffa, running back from Clemson. I love this kid. I watched a lot of Clemson football the last couple of years, especially when Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne was there. Etienne at the time was still in college, and Maffa was his backup. So Maffa's been there for a good minute, and then he got the lead back role the last couple years, and he is a big boy. This is the type of pick that you're trying to make when you want that David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type of action in your run game. You get Knuckles, and then you get Sonic. Knuckles is Phil Maffa, and Sonic is Jayden Blue. This is going to be your ultimate running back duo in the next year, I imagine. Do I really think they should play this year? Absolutely. Because let's just be honest. Miles Sanders has not been good since he's left the Eagles. He really didn't do nothing in Carolina. A lot of that may have to do with the offensive line. I don't know. So Miles Sanders has got a lot of making up to do since his departure from the Philadelphia Eagles. And Javonte Williams, he just has never lived up to what he was supposed to be coming out of college. I think he's had an ACL injury. He's just been injured a lot. I saw a lot of his highlights this past season. Nothing to really write home about. So you got much needed running back help, even though I really wanted them to get somebody like a Travion Henderson, a Quinjon Judkins, those type of running backs, even Ollie Gordon. The only person I didn't really want was the Dylan Sampson that everybody was clamoring for Dallas to get. And I was sitting there like, Dallas, please do not get Dylan Sampson. Like, please. Him, Jordan James, all those guys, I didn't want them. They even had this guy out of Virginia Tech. He started with a T. He's from Virginia Tech, but they were projecting him to get him in the 4th round. I was sitting there like, Dallas, just please don't do it. But we got a much beefy running back, run over everybody in Phil Maffa. I hope he can get a spot on the game day roster. I really think your ideal running back room right now, Hunter Lukey, put him at fullback. Maffa, Jayden Blue, and either Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, whichever one you want to put in there. I think that's your running back room. I've heard a lot of reports that they are possibly flirting with the idea of possibly trading for somebody like Nick Chubb, given that the Browns have took multiple running backs. They did take Dylan Sampson and Quinyon Judkins this past round. So a lot of people are questioning if they should get on the phones and try and trade for Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's coming off another ACL injury. I would flirt with the idea. I like it. Nick Chubb alongside somebody like Jayden Blue and Phil Maffa. Woo! That running back room looking pretty good in my opinion. Keep beefing up that O-line. That's what Brian Schottenheimer wants to do. And our last pick, Tommy Bestie, another defensive tackle. Sorry for mispronouncing his name. He's more of a fill-in type of guy. Just providing the need, defensive tackle. A lot of people had him going undrafted in their mocks. So I guess Dallas just wanted to get the best available player that they had on their board. But another thing that I can say, in totality. Dallas did a good job with their draft. We got to be honest. Think about it in this very optimistic lens. They made picks based off the way they're trying to establish their football team. You got to think about it. They basically drafted O-line, D-line, running back, and that's it. And one corner, because you needed corner depth, and he was the best corner available. But outside of that, that is all you drafted. You drafted trench boys and one skill position player at cornerback. Dallas is trying to send a message. But inevitably, the big glaring issue we had in this draft is wide receiver. It is diminishing, heart-wrenching, disappointing that every mock draft had the Dallas Cowboys taking a wide receiver in the first round, even in the second round, at some way, form, or aspect. And the Dallas Cowboys come away with making no picks at the wide receiver position. Isaiah Bond was available at one point. I was sitting there like, okay, can we get Isaiah Bond? Isaiah Bond is an undrafted free agent at the moment because of some off-the-field issues. So that's why a lot of people are shying away from him. So I don't really fault Dallas at not trying to make their way towards trying to pick up Isaiah Bond, because he's got a lot of things going on right now at the field that is probably hindering him from getting a roster spot. They actually did pick up a wide receiver from Oregon. He actually played at Bama as well. He's a tall guy, 6'4", I think. So he is something that fits the mold that Dallas was looking for in Ted McMillan at first. He can fly. I think the wide receiver coach and him have some, for Dallas, and that guy have some type of connection. So they addressed that as an undrafted free agent, but in totality, you got to think that Dallas is on the phone with somebody. There's been reports that they possibly were on the phone with George Pickens at one point. I personally do not want George Pickens. I don't want anything to do with him. It's going to be somebody that you're going to have to pay next year. So it's going to be a 1-year rental. I don't think he's worth giving up draft capital for just a 1-year rental. I would rather just ride it out. Somebody I would consider, though, is somebody such as Courtland Sutton. I really don't know where he's at with his contract right now at the moment, but you would think that is somebody that's in consideration right now for Dallas. I've even heard somebody say Xavier Legette. Not opposed to that as well. But Dallas has got to get somebody. If they're really serious, and even in free agency, there's not a lot of guys are old. Amari Cooper's available. He really didn't have a prominent role on the Bills when he was acquired by him, traded when the Bills traded for him just this past year. Keenan Allen, he's old. He's not something that Dallas really needs. Does he provide veteran leadership in the locker room? I would rather have that. But he's old. I don't know. I think he still has it. Obviously, I don't want to sit here and say he don't have that sauce no more, but he is very old. He is definitely on the latter part of his career. So outside of that, you have no other options. So you're going to obviously try and get on the phones and trade for something. And they need to do something and it's got to happen fast, because with the current wide receiver room we have right now, you have CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Mingo, and Tolbert. Jalen Brooks. That's not it. You got to give CeeDee Lamb a wide receiver too. If not, you're going to force us to run the ball, and then teams are going to hone in on that when it's ready to pass the ball. CeeDee Lamb's going to be double covered, and Jonathan Mingo and Tolbert are not going to be open. Tolbert and Mingo could be good wide receiver 3s. They're not a wide receiver 1 or 2. Nobody in the league believes that. Jerry Jones is trying to spew this narrative thinking that Jonathan Mingo is a number 2 because they had him as a second-round grade 3 years ago. But guess what? Jonathan Mingo has been a bust. A lot of that has to do, was he with Carolina? Absolutely. I even saw some plays during Thanksgiving and other games where Jonathan Mingo was open. He just wasn't getting the ball. But this all comes down to Dak Prescott at the end of the day. You got to get Dak a Dak-friendly offense, and that offense is running the football and establishing the pass. Play action pass. That's Dak. Dak has never been this drop back pass type of guy. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Josh Allen. He's just not this drop back passer type of guy. He's not Tom Brady, not Aaron Rodgers. He just never has been, and he never will be. And Dak's not as mobile as he wants to be. We've heard of reports of Dak Prescott losing weight. So he's wanting to run the football a whole lot more than what he has, but he's coming off a lot of injuries. Dak Prescott hasn't finished a season in a while. Last year, hamstring. Year before that, I think it was his wrist. So he's missed time every single year. That's the reason why that Joe Milton trade makes a lot of sense. I even thought really that Dallas was flirting with the idea of drafting Shador after he slipped. Look forward to that conversation on the Alpha Podcast. But inevitably, I think this team is still not going to be good. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to be fighting for another good pick next year. Arch Manning's going to be available. I can wish upon a star for another quarterback, but we're stuck with Dak Prescott for a good while. We're just going to have to face that reality, and we're just going to have to build around him to the best of the ability. But right now, what the Dallas Cowboys should be focused about is setting a culture, setting an identity on offense and defense, and extending Micah Parsons. Because if you're not going to extend Micah Parsons, even though it's the dumbest idea you think you can do, but you might as well trade him. I don't think they should trade him. Don't get me wrong. Do not spew things in my mouth. I do not think that Micah Parsons should be traded. I think you should extend him, give him what he has earned, what he means to the Dallas Cowboys and that organization, the way he came out and was ecstatic to be a Dallas Cowboy once he was drafted. Yes, do I not like Micah's off the field antics to a certain degree? They're not bad. It could be a whole lot worse. Look, he loves media. I love media as well. If I was playing football, I'd probably want to do some media stuff as well. Is it something that I think he should do? Maybe in the off season, probably. I don't really like the idea of doing that. Him doing that during the season. But at the end of the day, he's got to be extended. But overall, I give the Dallas Cowboys an A- draft. I really do. I think they did a good job. They drafted based on what they needed and what type of football they're trying to play. So, as I've seen in reports, wide receiver is something they're probably going to address later on via trade. I'm interested to see where exactly they will go with that. But that is all I have to say, essentially, about the draft. If you guys enjoyed, please let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with my idea or opinion that I like the picks? I like the Cowboys draft. Let me know down below in the comments. Be on the lookout for the next aspect of the Alpha Podcast, where I'm going to get more in depth of the draft overall, talk about the main hot topic in Shador Sanders. But I'm currently writing it up because I'm wanting to talk about other multitude of topics as well. I thank you guys for joining me for this video. I know it was very long, but I had fun with it, and I hope you had fun as well. I hope you guys enjoyed it again, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the video. Be sure to check out the Alpha Podcast on YouTube as well as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and make sure you follow on there as well. Hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video. Peace, love, and positivity. Y'all. See ya.